really liking the feeling of disassociated because I'm not so involved in my feelings, and it was just like the ups and downs. And then I think last week I was just like I got out of it again, and I was asking Andrew, when does this all stop? When does this all the pain go away? And and I still haven't finished watching the video. It's been very slow. It's very, but um, it felt like going through that session, like the floor broke through. It felt like I came into a completely new space, and I think Andrew was saying that the disassociation, like of it sounds bad, but it was a new space for me. Like, and I was like, I come in and go out, come and go out. Well, not entirely consciously choosing it, but I would just come in and going out of that. And this one, just going to the session, Andrew, it finally broke through, and I was just like, I was able to put the pain and the suffering in context, and it felt like I could, I had so much clarity. I could actually introduce new possibilities. I could actually entertain new possibilities, whereas before I never could. And we're trying all of these questions, and I was actually seriously entertaining them. I did not dismiss them. I did not diminish myself. I did just I could entertain them, and we even got really deep into the nature of I. And you know how like the Enlightenment, they're like, oh, I is fictitious. It's and I could never seriously contemplate that. It was just so abstract and so far away. And I realized, oh my goodness, I can actually contemplate this question and seriously consider it. And I've never been able to do that before because I never realized why, but I was so involved in the feelings. Like it was so much more important. It just feels so. I would love to have. I would love to have considered that I am I and be who is I and be really and awaken through the self inquiry mechanism of enlightenment. And I couldn't. I seriously couldn't. It would just sounded. It was just too far away from me. And I got to that space. Um, I haven't progressed into who am I or what am I or if I is even real. But over this week, I've finally been able to fall in love. Well, probably a little bit presumptuous, not presumptuous, premature. I've been doing movement, and for the first time, I get it. I get it, and oh my God, I get it. I hated doing the movement. Like it's why I've been pushing it. I've never realized I hated it. I just didn't get it. I couldn't do it. I was just in my head and breaking the floor. I literally felt I went on stage, or like you go to the ruins and you're like, there's nothing much at the ruins here. There's no one, and you step onto a part, and it just broke through. And I went into a deeper sense that I've been able to consistently occupy and consistently get there. It's like the reference point, and I started like, oh my goodness, and I started doing movement, and before, and the movement I've been doing is, what does it feel like to get guidance? And a few weeks ago, I did a session with Andrew, and I was just severely lacking in guidance. I didn't know the sense of what it meant to be guided. I was trying to guide myself, but it was through insights. It was through being smart. It was through an image, and the image was the mechanism for my guidance. And now it just felt like I just felt like, what are the guiding? And then we did this movement of guide, and then Andrew was like, it looks like you're very, very young. It's like I'm a kid, and I'm literally like being held like this by something. And I'm going to the movement, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm being held, and I'm like, look at this, and I'm like, this is my dad, and I've never ever had that. Like my dad never really guided me, and he wasn't there in my first few years of my life, and he wasn't really there the rest of it in terms of he didn't know how to be a father. He didn't have a father and he didn't know, and he was just very immature and very narcissistic, and I've just been there. I was guided, and I've never been able to go into space where I can heal and cry consistently. And I was like, oh my goodness, I was just going through all these feelings of my dad is guiding me. And then it dropped. I'm like, holy shit, I am changing my internal dad. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I get it. I get that internal parent. And I'm like embodying a dad that is ideal. I'm like, I get it. This is what it feels like if my dad were to have guided me when I was a baby. Like, and I imagine just like walking in toddler steps and like, I was like, and I'm still in that phase where I'm just a little kid and I'm having a parent again. And and then my hands will get so tired and I'll just keep doing this and keep doing this. And I'll be crying and I'll be laughing, I'll be jumping in puddles, but I'm a baby. Yeah. And I'm just getting that feeling of what would it be like to baby and having a dad that guided me. And then I did this one, my hands were tired. I'm like, didn't really get that much. My mum was around when she was younger, but wasn't as impactful as this. And then I got tired of this one. I'm like, okay, fair enough. I'll try this again. Like, this didn't really impact. Try this again. And I'm like, let's try these two. And I bawled because I've never really had both of them together. And I didn't know what it meant. And I'm like, oh my God, imagine if both my mom and dad were holding me and were guiding me and they were together and they loved each other and I'm like, that's never ever happened in my life. They were just always fighting and bickering and arguing. And I'm like, this is like the masculine, the feminine, and they're just like working together and they're just guiding me through life. And it felt phenomenal. Felt I am just ecstatic and it feels like, oh, there's so much in my life. I'm seeking this validation from things. And I'm like, it's because I haven't been witnessed. I didn't know what it felt like to be witnessed by my mom and my dad and mom. And it was just like, I'm starting to get that reference point in here and through life. And I can just oh, okay. And I can notice how I'm seeking validation. I'm talking, I'm doing the great explainer. I'm justifying myself. I'm like, oh no, I'm not being seen. I'm not being heard. I'm not being held. And go back to my mom and dad and everything calms again. And I, still going through this, but it just feels amazing. And this small thing just changing my life. I'm just like, I'm starting to make commitments and I can make commitments and I'm being so scared to do things and commit to things. I was just so scared about all the feelings that come up. And the way I deal with the feeling is through addiction or through eating my way to feeling or to pushing myself really hard or constructing another image to push me into that. And I hated that. And now it just feels like I can do things without, not fully yet, but with far less inflation and far less of this image. And it just feels so wholesome. And I'm like, this feels like a greater universe and this masculine, this feminine. And I'm like, oh my God, it feels, I never realized before, but the way I envisioned the universe was this entity and it was just separated. And now it just feels like such an intimate relationship with something greater than me. And it feels like my mom and dad, like what they're supposed to be like. And it feels intimate in a way that I never knew you could have the intimacy with the universe and intimacy with God or intimacy with this greater intelligence. And I'm like, oh, this is what they're talking about. Like you need to be it's intimate. I just thought like you have something there, an entity, the universe, and you, and it's like an authority figure rather than a loving, kind. They know everything about you there, and they love you because of it. And it's, I just feel like I've hit a new level, and I have mom and dad there for me when I'm scared, and I realized that it's not. I've been seeking the absence of fear and suffering and pain and hurt, but that's actually not what I really wanted. And it's actually someone to just be there for me. And I touched on this like a few months ago with Andrew, but now I'm just embodying that. And every time I'm scared and I'm in pain and I'm in suffering, I'm just like, and they're there for me, and I've got parents, and I've got actual true parents, and I get it. Like I'm like, what does it mean if you actually have uh, a good childhood? And I'm like, and I get it. I get it. I'm there. I can, I can change my childhood. Actually change how I feel about it. I can change. It's unbelievable. That I've got a dad and mum that can guide me and that believe in me and that are proud of me and unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Thank you, Andrew. It's just, and I couldn't do the amnesia exercise before. I could not do it. Only Andrew, I could not do it before. I was just like, I just slightly there and I'd set goals and I'd be like, okay, what of this? But it was purely from ego. And this one feels like, what does that feel like? And I'd seriously consider it. And what does that feel like? And I'd feel into it. And I'm like, okay. And what does that feel like? And I'm like, okay. What does it feel like to have an amazing childhood? I'm like, I could actually do it. And the interesting part is I'm learning how to be a father through this experience rather than through reading about what fatherhood consists. I'm like, okay, fatherhood, your daughter needs to do this, you need to do this, your daughter, and this one. I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel seen. Oh my goodness, this is what I could do with Aria. Oh my goodness, I could actually look at her and smile at her because this is what it feels like rather than a checklist from parenting guides. I can actually feel the embodied way to be with her and be present. And oh, the most incredible things have been happening. I've never been able to play with Aria truly. It was always what play should look like. And I'd be distracted and I'd be faking the play. And now, like, oh my goodness, what would it be like to actually have fun with her? And I could actually be present and have fun. And oh my goodness, pretend playing, I couldn't do it. It was just like, what a waste of time. And now I'm like, pretend play is just like embodying it. What would it be like to actually mow the lawn with a toy, with a real, it's a toy, but I could pretend to mow and do the gardening with her. And what could this look like? And what could that look like? I'm sweeping with the pretend broom, but it's no longer pretend because I can actually embody what it is like to sweep. And I can sweep here and I can sweep here. And what does sweeping here look like? Oh, that looks a little bit yucky. Okay, let's do that. I can be with her and I realize that is that's what's actually happening for her. That she's actually embodying. She's actually living. She's embodying before. She's actually she's teaching me. She's doing embodiment. She is living in this world, and it feels so real. And I'm like, I just thought of not pretend. It is. It's not pretend. It's embodiment, and I can do that with her now. It's like for the first time this morning, I truly danced with her. I was just like, I was there with her. I was dancing on a concert stage in the dance floor, and this is what present is. This is actually joining with her in her play, in a pretend play, and I was the one that was a fool. I thought it was pretend. It's not. And shit changing my life. Like I'm imagining ways of wealthiness and actual money that I've never fathomed before. And I'm like, okay, so what does 100 million feel like? What is this one? Okay, right. And I'm like, before it was just like, let's just do it. But I'm like, what would it feel like to hold that money, to be like that person, to dress like them, to embody them? And I'm like, I truly, possibilities are now there. Before it was conceptual, being with deep unconscious ways of dismissing these possibilities that I never realized, and I just write down or just think and conceptualize. And this feels like, what would that feel like? What would it be like? What would it smell like? What would it? It's ah amazing, amazing. Thank you guys for listening. I really wanted to share that with you guys. Um, it's there's so many little things that I struggled, and I would have to do habit trackers and to get that done every day. And now just like, hey, if you can just or just feel like just doing it, just do it for 1 minute, and that's okay. And that's all it is. And there's so much forgiveness. And every time I'd be scared, I'd go into ego, and I'd go into food, and I'd go into gym, and I'd go into wealth, and I'd go into constructing this thing. And now I just feel like mom and dad are here. Dad, I've got help. I don't need to do it myself. What should I do? And before it'd be a what should I do from a conceptual point and the framework and the strategies and the tactics. And now it's just like, let go of all of that, and they will guide me. And and I realized, like, it's like, I think like last year, the year before, like I had so much of this spastic energy within me, and I was doing it, and I'm like, oh my God, it was actually me being a baby and a child, and me crushing that need that I had then. And I'd be like this, and I'm like, this feels very familiar to my spastic energy. And it was me being a baby, needing my mom and dad, and me crushing and distorting it and making it into a spastic energy. And so my week's been okay, not bad. I'm in a good place.
Sounds like you can't be contained, which is good.
It literally feels like the inflection point of the hockey stick. Felt like it was getting worse. I'm like doing all this fucking work and nothing's showing. And now I'm just like, I'm there, I've arrived. I'm not by myself. I'm no longer alone.
You never were alone.
Would you say?
I said you never were alone.
I never was alone. Yeah, I
Yeah,
never were.
we just didn't have access to it.
Did not.
Yeah,
I'm
me
not
neither.
forsaken.
Yeah. Nothing out there changed. It was in here that changed. Nobody showed up in your
But things will
house.
change. Sure of it. I believe it, and I know it. But it's here, and I have access to it, and I can choose it. And that was a scary thing. I could not choose it. I'd get to these places where I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm awake," or have awakenings, and now I know how to choose. I know what that choice is. I get it. It's not that the absence of being scared. It's not that the absence of pain. It's not the absence of any of that. It's just that I'm guided by something else. I'm guided by mom and dad, and I get how important it is to have mom or dad that, and I get how they are proxy for God, get how they're proxy for a universe, and the masculine and the feminine. Things are clicking now. I had disparate pieces of puzzle pieces, conceptual puzzle pieces, and now that internal sense of everything clicking together. And wait to share this with you guys. I was giddy. Ah, thank you both of you for listening, and thank you for being here on the journey with me, and thank you for teaching me and guiding me and loving me and having this space for me, which is not what I thought it was.
Yeah, really hard to put that on a sales page and convince you of that the first day. Hey, you're gonna learn how to play a pretend lawnmower with your daughter, and it's gonna mean more than anything you could ever imagine.
And sweep
Yeah,
and sweep and dance and
yeah.
yeah.